I'll just fall back into a state of ease, because when I do that, things just fall into place. You don't have to be perfect to take action. Intention goes into momentum, and that just causes everything. Yeah, and I just literally have it right here. We can all get through it.
From To Be Magnetic, this is the Expanded Podcast with your host, Lacey Phillips.
And your host, Jessica Gill.
As the leading destination for neural manifestation, we dispel the woo-woo in order to help you create real, tangible results based on neuroplasticity, psychology, epigenetics, and energetics. Our goal is to normalize the practice of manifestation and empower you to get into the driver's seat of your life in order to manifest the experiences, relationships, and things that most align with your authenticity. And by pressing play, the process begins.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Expanded. Jessica here. We have an incredible process guest today with Alyah. Alyah went from manifesting $14K to help build up her FU fund that turned into a $50K FU fund. She wound up leaving a position where she felt underappreciated, underpaid, and launching her own passion project and business with her own clients and freelancing. Aylah also manifested a lot of the incredible things that we're going to talk in this episode during a period of a lot of turmoil and grief. And I think a lot of people think when you have those big manifestations that come through, everything just feels amazing, incredible. And on one hand, it does, but it also doesn't mean that real life isn't happening simultaneously. Especially during this year of stripping and so many changes and shifts, it's asking us to really hold two things at once. Can we hold the grief for the things that we have lost, the people that have passed, the major life upheavals that are going on, the global events that are happening around us? And can we also sit in our joy? And the more that we allow ourselves to feel the depth of one thing, it allows us more to feel the depths of the other. I also think she's an incredible expander because her energy just feels so pure and sweet. And for anyone out there, I know when it comes to business, there's this archetype when it comes to career and business that you have to be a shark, you have to be in your masculine, you have to be cutthroat in order to get ahead. And that paradigm is shifting. And I think leaning into our feminine power in career can really help that, whether you're a man or a woman. You're leaning into both dualities at one time when it comes to career. It's not just the masculine, it's also leaning into that femininity, into that purity, into that sweetness. And how can you let that lead and make your business decisions, follow your aligned pings, take your aligned action? I think you guys are really going to love this one. And for anyone who hasn't joined our TBM Money Challenge, it is not too late. We are going to keep this thing open all summer. You guys have plenty of time to run through it multiple times. We're getting the most incredible testimonials of people who have manifested money, abundance, the careers they wanted, lifestyle things they wanted, relationships they wanted after doubling down and committing to these 3 weeks of the challenge. So if it has called to you, if you've started and haven't finished, it is not too late. I encourage you right now, go back in. The life you want is on the other side of the commitments you make to yourself. So honor this commitment. Join us with the challenge. We still have our big summer sale going on. It will be ending on July 20th at midnight PST. So be sure to lock in the lowest rates of the season. You will not see these prices again for a while. So if you want to join TBM, if you want to do the TBM Money Challenge, now is the time. Okay, enjoy.
And now a word from our partners.
Are you craving the benefits of an infrared sauna but don't have the space or don't want to pay the hefty price of a large sauna in your home? Look no further. I highly recommend Bond Charge's infrared sauna blanket. This blanket has been game changer. I had it in my old apartment and I brought it to my new house and I truly cannot live without it. I am someone that really sees the impact of sweating in an infrared sauna regularly. It can improve your cardiovascular health, help with pain relief, improve your sleep, boost your immune function, help with your skin health and your skin tone, wrinkles. It can stimulate collagen, detoxification, stress reduction, improved mood, increased circulation, and boosted metabolism. I truly see the benefits specifically in my skin and my muscles and my joints. If I'm working out really heavy or if my joints feel really tense and tight and I do the infrared sauna regularly, it starts to feel so much better and more easeful. And I recover faster, specifically from my workouts, from, muscle growth, all of those things, and also detoxification. My skin just glows. I feel better. I feel like my metabolism is boosted because I'm able to digest quicker. It has been so, so helpful and key. And I can really notice the difference on the weeks that I do not use the sauna blanket. Sometimes I can get lazy and not go in there, and I notice, oh man, I'm really missing out on that important tool. And the reason I love Bon Charge's sauna blanket over any others on the market is because one, they have the lowest EMF, and two, you can go in completely naked. Other sauna blankets, you have to pack layers of clothing on. And even then, I feel like I'm moving around my body so often because things are getting too hot in certain places. Bon Charge's has the most incredible layering in their blanket. So you can go in completely in the nude, feel comfortable, don't have to move around, and get your sweat on. If you want to try out Bon Charge's infrared sauna blanket, blue light blocking glasses, their red light protection, any of their other products, they have such incredible stuff. Go to their site now and use code MAGNETIC, all caps, MAGNETIC for 15% off. Again, that's MAGNETIC, all caps, MAGNETIC for 15% off. Go to boncharge.com or check out the link in the show notes.
All right. On to the episode.
Okay, so I wanted to kick off with your sun, moon, and rising sign.
I'm a Leo sun. My rising is Capricorn, and my moon is Sagittarius.
So cool. Well, it's also really full circle because I know one of the pillars that you're working through manifesting, stepping into more is like literally getting paid to be yourself, to like be tapped into your full creative expression. And I'm like, oh, you're a Leo sun. Like that's your destiny. Of course you're supposed to do that. So it's just so funny how the programming, the fears, the limiting beliefs kind of stack on, but you're all chipping away back to that core essence that you always were beneath it too.
It's a journey, but I'm just like really excited to be on this journey. Yeah. I've been so reflective lately too about this whole thing. Looking back on my photos, because we send stuff in for you guys. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool looking back on the journey that I've been through, like before TBM. And then after I found it, I know quantum leap has been used a lot recently, but it was literally like a quantum leap after I found TBM. Recently, over this past year, it's been like that rock bottom transition type moment of just like truly like the ego death happening, of like truly seeing what matters to me and what doesn't, what resonates and what doesn't. And it's been so cool. Even looking at how I used to not take selfies of myself at all. And nowadays it's just like I've gotten more into accepting myself and like being like, it's cool to take pictures of myself too. I'm so used to taking pictures of other stuff. I love taking pictures, and just even how I smile is different. It feels so much better.
It's so wild. It's so important to have those reflection points because I think sometimes life just comes at you so fast.
Yeah.
And you're just like on the hamster wheel, the next. But when we can actually take that moment and look back, and that's why I obsessed with taking pictures too. And having that moment to look back and literally see in you that older version of self and not look back with judgment or shame or sadness or anything, but look back with like such compassion and be like, oh, you're so sweet. You were trying your best. Like, wow, look how far we've come. Like, this is so cool to see that progress. It's so remarkable.
That part right there has been really cool because I got to say, when I was younger, I used to look back and be like, oh, why do I have to be like this? But now it's that compassion really coming through and being like, it's okay. We're all accepting of each other, like the different versions of my inner child. We're all accepting. We're all a family.
Yes. Speaking about identity and like cultural identity and roots, What is your cultural background and upbringing?
So I'm from the DC area, the DMV as we call it. My mother came here to DC in the 80s, and she's Guatemalan. Her type of, because there's a bunch of different types of, let me just call it ethnicities or cultural types within Latin America, and what she grew up knowing herself to be as Ladino, which I believe, I have to like double check it with my mom, but I believe it's where it's more European ancestry mixed with the native ancestry. But my mom always grew up knowing that she was Ladino, a Guatemalan Ladino. And so she came here in the 80s, met my dad in the 80s, and my dad is a Black man from Washington, D.C., born and raised. He has a lot of character to him and his family and my mom's family, and we just have a lot to us that over the years, I was just like, oh, it's fine. It's just like whatever. But now as an adult, I'm just like, there's so much to cherish about that, both sides. And even my dad, I grew up Muslim because of my dad. He converted to Islam before my brother and I were born. And he raised us with Islamic practices. And also my mother's background grew up Catholic, even though she doesn't practice it anymore, but still having that too. And even my cousins, some of my closest cousins are Jewish. And having the mixture of culture that I'm going to blame on my family, but also the DMV too. In Northern Virginia, DC area, it is such a beautiful cultural hub that, let me just say, if you go to Maryland, because I grew up in Southern Maryland, I can say this, you don't get that. It's not the same. But up here, there's more of a connection and cultural hub of support, especially to immigrants in sanctuary cities like Alexandria or Arlington or DC.
Talk a little bit about the importance of that cultural reflection and what are maybe some ways that you honor that or maybe can lean into it more now with more pride and excitement and interest, just for people who are like, wow, like I didn't grow up in an area that I felt represented or I felt like there was space to connect with like-minded community or whatever. Kind of vision hold for us. What does that look like in a way that feels really good? And any tips or insight for people who are kind of really starved for that in a different way, and anything you would recommend?
I get where they're coming from because literally growing up in the area of Southern Maryland I grew up in a county called Charles County. And every single time I tell someone about it, they're just like, we've never heard of it. I'm just like, yeah, because it's just a highway. It's a little town on a highway, and then you keep going. Even speaking about representation and finding community, one of the things that my brother and I had to adapt to when we moved from Northern Virginia to Maryland, because we were already in school at that age, like preschool, kindergarten for us, we stopped speaking Spanish as much as we used to out and about. We didn't speak Spanish all the time, but it became less of a lifestyle for us because it wasn't cool, it wasn't popular, and then also at the same time, nobody was doing it. Everyone was speaking English. We were seen as outsiders in other ways. Like, I only remember meeting 2 or 3 other Muslim people in my entire time down there throughout elementary school and a little into high school, and that was it. That also impacted me personally as like, I don't know if I want to practice this religion where I can't find community in it at the time. And then luckily enough, actually, when I moved up here halfway in high school, I found Islamic community, Muslim community, and Muslima sisters. And it was so beautiful. I felt seen in so many ways, but specifically in finding Islamic community and understanding what it means to be a modern Muslim woman, so many different aspects of it. But then also what it means to be a Guatemalan woman, what it means to be a woman of African and Latin ancestry. It was also the first time I heard the term Afro-Latino or Afro-Latina. I'd never heard of that before till I moved up here. So I understand what it feels like to feel kind of lost and alone and thinking, well, nobody else is like me, so what's the point? Thinking that popularity and majority rule is what's important to continue in this world and to fit in and to make your way. There's so much more beyond the, let me just say, trees or desert that you see, whatever your terrain is. There's so much more beyond that in the world that you haven't seen yet. And the people that you're looking for are out there, and they're looking for you too.
That's so beautiful. I think even as we're in the midst of this abundance and money challenge, right? And we're thinking about what are those things that can really tap us into our abundance? It's reconnecting with our authenticity. And so much of our authenticity is like, if we can understand and recontextualize, yes, in childhood and in growing up, we felt like we had to hide or dismiss or repress or allow it to disintegrate, shut it down, lock it away, these parts of us to fit into the popular culture, to fit into whatever that one pocket of the world was living as. But now it's that reclamation of all of those parts again. It's how can we pull them back up and say, wait, I see you, I honor you, I'm going to embody you now again. And realizing that that actually is our superpower. You having all of those roots from different parts of the world, from different religions to different cultures, and you figuring out what does that mean for you today? How do you want to define it? How do you want to express it? That is what is going to make you the most magnetic, authentic being. And I just think that process is really cool.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have the perspective that I do. And I know we all have our own unique perspective. I remember, I was talking to my friend about this the other day. I was like, I remember when I would come home from school, and in our living room, we had this big map of the world. And it was like a Nat Geo map. And it was framed, and it was so cool. And then either my dad or my grandfather, because my abuelito was living with us for a moment. My abuelito and my abuelita were there for a short moment in our childhood, thankfully. But I remember they both would be like, remember who you are and where you come from. And my dad especially would be like, where is your family from? And I'd be like, Dad, I don't know. I just want to watch TV. And he'd be like, your bloodline and your family comes from Africa. And your bloodline and your family comes from Guatemala. And never forget that. The amount of times that has been repeated of my family telling me, don't forget where you come from, I feel like they always knew that I was going to do something with my life. And it could literally change the trajectory of where I came from, literally. So I feel like they had been preparing me all my life to be like, okay, but just don't forget where you come from. Always bring us with you in that way, at least in your thoughts. Yeah, I gotta say, everything that I do, because it is authentic too, is backed by the love that I have for my family and my community and for others too.
I think as we're embarking in this abundant journey too, there's such a remembrance for the roots. And it's so top of mind because I'm working on the Rooted in Abundance DI, which there's a little prompt in there. I'm so excited for you to hear it. But there's a prompt in there where you're grounding into the earth, you're grounding into Mother Nature and everything. And then you connect with your ancestors through the roots, and they send you the remembrance. Hey, remember, this is how we interacted with the earth. This is what we, and you have this moment where whatever needs to come up, there's a moment of silence where you can just really pull in whatever channels through. And I feel like that's such a important thing in the world right now, for this sort of pause and wait, we in our DNA, we all have this history within us. And can we connect to that? Can we get quiet and still enough to hear the whispers and the wisdom of everyone that's come before us? And then know when we're taking action in real life and when we're taking action in our day-to-day, it's from that privileged place of, wow, you guys have gone through this. And now I get to step here today, embody my authentic self. And what decisions can I make from here? And when you can make those decisions from your alignment, from your wisdom, from your truth, you are healing that lineage. You are honoring that lineage by breaking those cycles. It's really important to have that rooted connection to the past and to the future at the same time.
I can't agree with that anymore. It is so important. We all have our own unique family story. Just even looking at Ancestry or something, the amount of family tree branches, insane. Also, that's another thing. So many of us don't know all of our ancestors because of lost history, disconnection. There's so much hidden beyond the surface.
I think so much of it too, like even if we don't know it for a fact or we don't know the exact story or narrative, our nervous systems remember.
Yes.
Our bodies remember. Like there are clues. I remember having a session with some energy healer and I talked about like this neck pain that I was having. I was like, I feel like every time I go to like share on socials or we did a speaking event or something, it's like the neck pain comes down again. She was like, oh, you have an ancestor that is telling you like, put your head down, don't be seen. It's not safe to be seen. You need to just communicate with them and like tell them like, no, it's a different timeline. It's a different thing. Like you're actually safe to do it now. And ever since communicating with that ancestor, I don't have proof that that's true, but it was an experiment in my mind of like, okay, I'm gonna work with this. I'm gonna talk to this person. And ever since doing it, it's lifted. Okay, there's something here, you know? So it's like when you have those ailments or those pulls in your body, even just communicating it, not that you have to get an energy healer to get it. You can even just talk to the pain or the sensation and be like, hey, is there someone here who's like trying to alert me to something, what's going on, and really trusting your own body and intuitive wisdom to like give you the answers you need in that moment.
Yeah, I remember listening to the episode with Mesa, and I remember hearing that part about when I think she was dating some people and immediately she'd get like reactions and stuff. And it would go back to women in her family of like, hey, be careful. And I can totally see that because I gotta say, I feel like it's a lot of women's ancestral stories too of like protecting or feeling like you have to protect yourself or just getting that immediate like intuitive feeling of like, oh, that person's not good energy. I need to get out.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Things like that. They're so important.
You wrote this in your submission. One of the things you said really helped shift things for you from the rock bottom and struggling with money and career and all of these things to manifesting what your goal was at 14K of an FU fund and getting a 50K FU fund plus some, then finding your aligned career. All of these things was anchoring in that safety within yourself. Talk about how you started to cultivate that. Were there specific tools, DIs? In some of the DIs, were there any practices that you're like, okay, when I did this, I also did this exercise inside of that quiet space or something like that?
Yeah, so immediately I think of the reset DI has been my absolute go-to and my favorite. And I think it's because like I literally used it the other night because I was triggered to a memory when I was literally having to deal with safety. I was 3 years old at the time and we had just moved into our home in Maryland and there was a tornado that night. Since then, I've always been afraid of high winds, tornadoes, hurricanes, and there was like a tornado watch this past Friday night. Everyone was asleep but me. I woke up. And I went downstairs because I saw like the kitchen light was on. I was like, oh, maybe someone's downstairs, me like wanting to find comfort. And there was nobody else there. The light just happened to be on. And I just had to stand there and I was like, what am I going to do? Like I was freaking out. And I haven't freaked out like that in a very long time. And then I look over and I see a picture of my mom and me and my brother. My mom's holding me and my brother and I was about 3. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes me feel better. And then I was like, okay, that helped let me get back into what I can do. And I was like, reset DI. And I just stood there and I did the DI. And what I love about the DI is you can move. I think that was one of the first DIs that I learned of that you could move in or like, not that you can or could, but it was acknowledged to move your body and get it all out. That's what I love the most about it. And that it's short too, because even back in corporate, when I would be triggered with aspects of boundaries and not feeling seen or respected, I would have to do this in the middle of a workday. And I really appreciated that short time frame.
Yeah. More short exercises like that to come. So stay tuned, you guys. We hear you. We're going to make some fun, good short ones for you.
It was really great, though, that movement and getting through. And also the validation DI was really huge, too. That's been a really big one. And finding safety, it has been a journey. I'm still finding it. Like even imposter syndrome, I have imposter syndrome. I woke up with it today of like, oh my God, what if I don't get a new client? What if I don't get this or that? And it's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because it was coming back to like, don't I have to prove myself? It's like, no, I don't have to prove myself. I'm going to be okay no matter what. I'll just fall back into a state of ease because when I do that, I notice things fall into place. When I open my world up and I'm just like, I let the walls of like secure everything, I let that down. Things just fall into place. That builds my trust muscle. And then of course that builds my safety. But it's been a journey. I've been through a lot this past few years, especially last year, with my job, being laid off, and also coming to realize that I wasn't being treated in the best way, and realizing I had been working too hard on trying to prove myself to people who didn't have the ears for it. And also, I'll take this for myself too, I still didn't know how to communicate my value and my worth. Even though I thought I knew how to, I didn't quite understand all of it. I was literally just starting to learn how to speak up for myself and how to set boundaries for myself. So when I would be asked, sometimes I'd be like, oh, and I'd freeze and I'd be like, well, I did this and I did that. And I would get the response of, is that all that you did? Because that was expected of you. I'm like, yeah, that was hard. That was hard going through. Another thing that I haven't spoken about a lot is my dog passed away unexpectedly last year. And that was the most world-shifting experience I could have ever experienced because she was my family. She was also really young. And to this day, we don't know what happened, but it happened right before I was laid off too. So everything was falling into place in that weird letting go of your current reality to start a new one. But oh my God, letting her go, at least physically, because I do believe that she's still with me, was so difficult. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night with panic attacks, and the DIs really helped me calm my nervous system back. There was even a point where I didn't feel comfortable staying in my apartment because it was just me and her. We lived together. And I didn't feel comfortable staying in my apartment because like I still felt her energy and I felt all that had happened leading to her passing. I would call my mom like, Mom, do you mind like staying over tonight? Because I can't be alone right now. It was just too much spiritual energy I needed. More of a love energy to come in. It was so hard though. And then when I moved, and then it was just me, it did feel like once I was out of the apartment, like a breath of fresh air, but still the depth of grieving was still there. At that point, it was just me figuring myself out, grieving all this stuff, but then also having the opportunity to be like, okay, I have all this time now. I do have my LLC now, but what
that
do
you
I
got
need?
on a very significant date.
Exactly. And that's another funny thing. All this stuff happened. So I was awarded my LLC on Juneteenth, which is huge because like my roots are in Virginia on my dad's side of the family. Our family's from Richmond. And to be awarded my LLC, my business in the state of Virginia on Juneteenth just felt like the absolute biggest hug from my ancestors. The ones who I knew that had passed away and the ones that I never got to know. So it felt like I was getting a lot of spiritual connection in that time period. Things were being stripped out of my life, but I was receiving the love and support that I needed from the, let me just call it the outside world of the spirit, and then also my inner world of myself, and then even my perimeter of my family and my friends. And I got a shout out to the people who were there. So I'm no longer part of the group, but I was in the early 20s group at the time. It was really great to be part of that community. I got to shout out Kaylee, who was the main organizer of our little team. It was really great to have her there and to have them there and to have that support. I am so grateful for them and what they had done in building community of us early 20s people.
That's so beautiful. I mean, there's so many things I want to just like pull out from what you said. So just so people have context, like you were working a corporate job, feeling underappreciated, unable to really speak up for yourself and share your value, stand in your worth and demand your value, in a state of freeze. Like, okay, I guess I'm just supposed to be on this hamster wheel of delivering. It's like you didn't feel like there was another way. I just have to be in this service, and this feels so unaligned for me. And I don't feel free and myself and authentic in this dynamic. And you had mentioned too in your submission how there was moments where you were like, okay, I'm going to quit, or I'm going to leave, or I'm going to do this. And you kept getting pulled back into this job for all these reasons. And part of it is financial safety, right? Like when you're used to making a certain amount of money and you've only ever made money in that way, there's that fear of like, well, what if I can't make money somewhere else? If these people don't even value me, like how am I supposed to be valued in other spaces, in other places? So it seems like the universe was really rock bottoming you in so many different ways for you to have that stillness and rebuild that sense of self-worth and safety and reconnection to self in that stillness and silence. I mean, for anyone who's ever been let go of a job before, obviously it can be extremely painful and destabilizing and fearful. And I would be shocked to hear that you weren't able to eventually transform it into something that is way, way, way more aligned, and be thankful that you left that space for some reason. So it's the both and. It's validating that really was scary and horrifying and, oh my God, what do I do? And taking your power back that like, okay, like, is there a silver lining here? Is there something I was missing? Was I really being all of myself and feeling fulfilled and appreciated? No. How can I set myself up for success in that? So just starting to pull together, okay, maybe you weren't ready to leave the job yet, but the universe was like, you need to go. We're going to be done here, and we're going to help you rebuild from scratch, but you got to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The universe was like, honey, no, stop. It's not that deep. There's more out there.
Yeah. I've been spending more time outside lately, soaking up the sun, grounding in the grass, just letting my body be in nature. And with that, I have to remember to give my skin some extra TLC. That is where Osea's Undaria Algae Body Butter and Undaria Body Oil come in. I've been using them together for about a year or two now, and they are so lush. My skin completely drinks it up, and it completely rehydrates, nourishes, and balances my skin. The body butter is incredibly rich, but somehow never greasy, and the scent is so bright and floral and citrusy. It's grapefruit, lime, mango, mandarin, the perfect summer scent. It has become my post-sun shower ritual that really makes me feel like I'm taking care of my body. I also love knowing that I'm putting really high quality products on my skin. And specifically for those post-beach days, I've been really loving their Ocean Cleanser. It's a biphase cleansing oil that helps dissolve makeup, impurities, excess sebum without stripping your skin. This helps give all the nutrients and moistures back to my face after a long day in the sun. Give your skin the nourishment it needs with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now we have a special discount for our listeners. You can get 10% off your first order site-wide with code magnetic10, all caps MAGNETIC 10 at OseaMalibu.com. That's OSEA Malibu.com, or check the link in the show notes. Talk about the process of opening other income portals to support you. Because when you were going to build up this FU fund and this savings number, again, you were aiming for 14, you ended up at 50. How did you get there?
Oh my gosh. So many different income portals came in. So like one thing, my apartment did flood. And because of that, thankfully, it wasn't super crazy, the damages, but it did affect my stuff. And I was able to get about 12 or like 14,000 from that. And I was like, oh, whoa, okay. And then my tax refund was about 7,000. I was like, okay. Yeah. And then it was about 18,000 that I took out of my retirement at the time. I was fortunate enough to have 18,000 in my retirement, my 401k, I believe it was. And then there was about 20,000 from severance, all of that together. In addition to, was it the couple like thousand that I had on my own, doing my own little saving. That was a lot. And it did total up to about 50K. I used it to get me over, at least at this point in my life last year, I used it to get me out of the slump of starting with the apartment flood and then being like, okay, I need to move out of here. Realizing, okay, I don't know where I'm going to move after that because I was laid off. I used it to keep me afloat, just to keep me okay. Also, I used it to pay my debts. Like I remember the day I paid off one of my credit cards entirely, I was like, it's only up from here.
Yes.
And then like I had to spend it and it was like, that's okay, I'll get back to it. I was able to take it back down to zero. It's possible. I'll do it again. Because yeah, I had to use my credit cards to keep me afloat too. It was real. It's real out here in these areas that are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, before the 50K and like the big, I'm going to call it the big rock bottom year that was last year, I called in, I already had an Etsy shop, but like opening up a new product on the Etsy shop. I had it for years, but I never really did anything with it. But this time, this was after the first time I was denied my promotion. It was September 2023, I was denied my promotion. And going from September into early holiday season, like October, I decided to start selling. I was like, okay, I need to do something. I could use Etsy. What am I going to do? What do I like to do? Because I already started listening to TBM. I was like, I need to use my authenticity in this to like create a portal. And I was like, okay, I like art. I like helping people. How can I combine this together? And so I was like, what I can do is like create a kit, something that I literally wanted for my recent trip that summer. I went to the UK. I was like, I was craving to have a watercolor palette with me and like a little travel kit of watercolor stuff. Cause I want to be able to like do watercolor while I'm traveling. Like if I'm on like a train or at a beach or something, I want to be able to just like whip out my tiny little kit and just like do my stuff. But I couldn't. There wasn't something out there. And I was like, I can do that. And so I did. I got these paint sets that are like the trial size paint sets for like watercolors. So you get like all of the little 12 colors. Okay, 12 colors, 12 things in this palette, put them in. I get a standard brush. Okay, they have little water cold press pads. Great. Put that in there. I included like a water dropper, all the little things basically that I feel someone getting started in watercolor or someone who knows about watercolor and wants to travel with the stuff can actually do. And like, I took my time from September to about October to start selling them because I was like still trying to wrap my head around them. Leading up to the holiday season, I was able to like bring in about $1,000 just selling these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a really inspiring thing of like, okay, if you are looking for another income portal, another place to help bridge you over or bring in something, especially if you can align it with a passion or something that's connected to your authenticity, like the message you're sending yourself is that your passions can help support you. So even if it's that $1,000 from Etsy, or even if it's for $100 for something else, think about the things that you authentically like or desire, or maybe you're missing, or maybe you are talented in selling your watercolor paintings. What are those things that you can then just in a very light way, just put them out and allow the people who want to connect with them and buy them and purchase them, find them. How did you let people know about your Etsy? Like, how did you market it?
Honestly, I don't really think I put too much like elbow grease into it. I think it was just all virtual, but I don't remember spending a lot of money on my Etsy ads or anything. But I do remember putting some money in it and just seeing like what happens. And I think it was just how I genuinely marketed it, because I marketed it from a place of I am an artist and this is the kit that I would have loved to have as I'm traveling or if I'm a student. Everything that I put in here is artist quality, it's artist grade, and it's intentional. I just feel like that got to people and stuck to people. Other than that, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that in and of itself is so expansive because it's really relying on the resonance of your authenticity to shine through in the way that you're crafting the product and the thing that you're putting out there without being like, okay, I'm going to have to get 1,000 Instagram followers and blah, 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 blah. Like, here's my content cycle routine. Like, it's like, no. Let's just make this in alignment and then see what blossoms from there and moves from there. And I do really think if it's totally in alignment with your authenticity, like it's going to find its way to the right people. Like that, it's just inevitable for that to happen if your heart, soul, authenticity is in that.
Yeah. And I think that's what was so fun and exciting about it. And I remember the year after, I was like, okay, getting ready for the holiday season. And it didn't come through. And I was like, oh, what do I have to do? And eventually I was like, I realized, and I can see it now, like it worked that one time because it was an alignment for me at the time. Of course, it was still authentic to me, like no matter what. It still is to me now, like, but it worked at that time because it was perfect for me at that time. But the year after, I didn't know it at the time, I needed to focus my energy on building myself outside of quick fixes or corporate fixes, which kind of led me to where I am today. So yeah.
Talk about that. Like, where are you now since transforming through that rock bottom and taking that inner reflection and really getting that clarity that you want to be paid for being you, the full expressed version of you? What does that look like? How is that translating to different clients you're calling in, how you're living your day to day? What does it all look like?
Gosh, well, starting with day to day, my day to day today in comparison to last year or even the years before that, drastically different because I'm living in my ease and I know when to take action and when to just let things flow and just enjoy, as I can hear right now, the birds in the trees and just sit in that quiet and take in everything around me. Or the action part, when I feel that like inner gut, let me just call it solar plexus urge, just like going for it. It's perfect. I'm getting the butterflies. It's a balance. And I didn't have that quite back then. I kind of did hear it. Like I knew my intuition. I knew I always wanted to be able to, like, I remember one day I was walking Luna in the morning. And I was just like, oh, I wish I could go to like the National Gallery of Art this morning, but I have to go to work. And I can do that now if I want. I create my work schedule. I work when I want to work. And I also know I don't have to work 8-hour, 6-hour shifts every day because that doesn't make me an amazing creator, an amazing designer, whatever it may be. My time that I put into something doesn't define my worth. I wouldn't have been able to say that last year because I was so dependent on what I learned in a corporate style world. But now I'm just like, no, like I can literally get so much work done in like 2 to 4 hours, and that's fine. I can take 3 days a week to work hard or work slowly in my own time, and that can be like all my work week. And I feel good in knowing that now. I wouldn't have been able to say that back then.
How does that also reflect in like how you were able to draw clients in? Because I think that's a big fear people have is, okay, now I'm on my own. I have this skill set from corporate, but like, how do I even get clients? How do I call them in? How do I make sure they're aligned? What has that process looked like for you?
It has been all over the place But only recently it has started to narrow down. It feels like a funnel. Over time, it's become more centered. I feel like now I'm in relationship and building relationships with potential clients, but then also strategic partners too. Because honestly, that's what I have been calling in. I just wasn't able to fully give words to that over however long I've been wanting to do my own thing. Yeah, when I first got into this, I was like, I need to find anyone and I want to work with everyone. And it doesn't work like that. You have to find the people that are going to be able to also pay your bills, especially if you don't have a strong safety net behind you. I wanted to help local small businesses, but I was like, okay, I can't help local small businesses, like specifically the ones that are just starting out, because they don't always have the capital. And that was really hard for me to come around to until I met with a friend of mine who's also a designer who was actually a full expander of mine. And I was able to become friends with her, which is really cool. But we were talking one day. She was saying it was really hard for her to balance, like, okay, clients, but then free clients. Like, you're helping them because you believe in their cause. And she was like, I want to let you know, like, that is okay. As long as you don't, like, have a majority of your work do that, you can definitely find time to help people, even if it's for free, as long as you're able to actually have clients too on the other side that can actually pay your bills. You can have both. And that was really cool to hear and see. But also, a side note, before I was laid off, about 2 weeks, I got 2 pings to purchase 2 separate courses. One was a course from a designer that I had been following for years. I was like, if I purchase this, it will not only help me stand out, my corporate brain, it would not only help me stand out as the best person to promote on my team, but I can use it in my freelance career and I can start freelancing from it. And I was like, okay, great, purchasing. But eventually I was like, oh, okay, this is just for me. That's okay too. And then there was a Ramit Sethi course that I purchased. So I purchased his earnable course. I'm still going through it because it's so full of great information. It was him that really got into my brain of like, you have to find people who can actually pay you. It's okay to want to help people, but you need to help yourself. Over time, I was able to work on that user persona, that ideal client avatar, let's just call it. Today, I've been able to hone it down to specifically, I lean towards working with women-founded or women and BIPOC-founded brands, businesses that are like soulfully driven, that know what it is to be authentic, that know what it is to build community, to want to have a better impact in this world. They see their clients, their customers, not as people who can like instantly give cash to them, but as people who want to support them and they want to support each other. It's like a mutual relationship. Those are the people that I want to call in, and I have been calling in, thank God. A lot of them have been coming in through actual building of relationship. Because another thing that I feel like a lot of people are taught in the world of starting your own business is cold calling, cold emailing, which some people are good at, but honestly, it can be quite taxing to both parties. I remember this past holiday season, I was like, I need to get everything going. I need to get all my money coming in and everything. And like, I'm so ready. And I sent like 85 emails to companies in this area that I thought would be perfect for me. That I thought were like, they're aligned clients, they're perfect. I only got like 3 responses because it wasn't actually an aligned action for me. It was more of a, okay, the idea of cold email, okay, great. I'm gonna like do this, but tweak it a little bit. But it still had the essence of cold email. It wasn't truly something that I would do, like my authentic self would do. But over time, since the holiday season to like springtime now, I've been able to better connect with people. Like the other day, I was just walking through Georgetown here in DC. I walked into a shop that is like a local shop. It's like called Shop Made in DC to like support small businesses and stuff. And I just walked in and I met the owner of actually one of the pieces that I'm wearing. And we were just chatting. she needed something that I was offering. She was like, I would love to work with you. And I was like, oh, great.
Wow.
I was just like walking around, seeing like what's here. And it just worked like that. And finding, for me, what's been working is authentic connection and not forced. And building relationship and seeing from that, okay, are we actually aligned, or can this be more of like a business friend? Or can this actually be a collaborative relationship in the future? I've been finding a lot of people just over this past week. It's been really cool.
I think that's so huge to name and call out too, because there's not one right way of doing things, right? Like there's old school methods, like people are like, okay, you have to cold call 1,000,001 places, or you have to cold outreach these things, or do that, or do this. And it's like, again, back to the authenticity. Look back. A great way to understand where you're going to be most effective is look back at the last few successes you've had with either outreach, getting clients, connecting with people. How did they come through? That is probably your portal of how they're going to come through again. So like for me, when I look back at all my big career opportunities, they have presented or been shared to me through a friend. So I know me just reaching out and cold sending LinkedIn or job applications is probably not going to be the thing that's going to get me the position. Even my very first job out of college, I wound up getting hired as an intern because the person hiring the position was a Penn State alumni. And so I was like, oh, Penn State alumni, I'm going to connect through this common factor. For me, it's just my patterning. It comes through connections. So actually, the most impactful thing I can do is talk about what I want to do with the people around me where it feels aligned, or with that random person in the shop, or with whatever. And then trusting they're going to connect the dots and the universe will like call back out to me when it's time to go. I remember even cold outreaching TBM before they had a position available, not really getting any traction, or they're like, yeah, we'll reach out when we have something open, nothing. And then a friend was like, they're hiring for a podcast producer. And I was like, bam, got it. Say no more. But it never came through that cold connection. It always came through something that was warmer. And so if you know that's your pattern, listen to that, feel the pings in that. Some people are actually much better at cold outreach. I have a friend who her cold outreach is like 8 out of 10 times she gets a good hit. If that's your portal, you should be in charge of the cold outreach. That is your thing, but it's not everyone. So think about the last 3 big successes or wins you've had in that area. How did they come through? And then lean into that.
Yeah. And I really want to go back to when you said cold versus warm. That too, there's a difference. I remember hearing there's like a thing of like some people are like more cold type people and some people are like more warm type people. And I'm also going to like mold that into the introvert versus extrovert too. There's like some sort of pattern and you have to follow, like what you're saying, what actually fits with you. And yeah, for me too. I'm a warm person. I love to chat. I love to just like talk to people. And I remember one of the people that I'm having a discovery call this upcoming week with, I did cold email her, but I was like genuine, like I knew her and I was like, hey, I just heard your story. I love your story. I would love to support you. On our first call, she was like, I didn't know if I should trust the email because it seemed so enthusiastic. And I'm just like, this can't be real. And I was like, no, it wasn't me. It was real. Yeah, that's just me. But I'm not always like that, or I wasn't always like that. I didn't always show that side of my personality because I thought, oh, nobody's going to want to see this. But that's just who I am. And I show it to show people like, this is me. And also, if you want to talk to me, this is what you're going to get. I just am who I am. And this is how I talk to people in general. This is how I talk to my clients, no matter if it's a client, a friend, family. That's how I am.
You've heard us talk about our Pathway membership, but what actually is it? It is an all-access membership where you can get every single workshop that we've ever created, all of our deep imaginings, which are our reprogramming audios, to help you manifest. You can access it on the desktop or in the TBM app on your phone directly. We, of course, have our foundational workshops, such as our How to Manifest workshop, which takes you step by step through this neural manifestation process to actually unblock, expand, and take aligned action to connect with your manifestations. Our How to Be Magnetic workshop, our Inner Child and Shadow workshops. And then, of course, we have a workshop if you are in a rut, if you're in a rock bottom, if you're in an up level, perhaps you need to set boundaries. Maybe you want to focus specifically on the block of money or love. It is all in there. And then twice a year as a community, we gather for our challenges. Our challenges are one of the most effective parts of the process because you get accountability. It is really a handheld experience in how to work through whatever the theme of that year's challenge is. And now to my absolute favorite part of our membership, which I think in and of itself would be worth the entire weight of the membership if we just had this alone, our Deep Imagining library. This library encompasses over 60 neural reprogramming audio tracks. They're self-hypnosis tracks that will really support you in any step of this journey. If you're needing calming, nervous system regulation, unblocking with a specific test or trigger, going through a difficult time, processing a big emotion, or maybe you just want reinforcing, how to reinforce those neural pathways of confidence, abundance, self-worth, deservingness, and connection with your dream life. And not only that, if you go to the app, we just launched Deep Imagining playlists where we're grouping different themes of DIs together. So no matter what you're going through, you have something for you. And we're constantly dropping new playlists as well as brand new Deep Imaginings. And if you need more support in your process, you can go to our brand new video series, Channelings with Lacey, where she touches on the exact energetics that are going on right now in manifestation and how it may apply to your life. So obviously, I am a huge fan of this membership. The peace of mind I get from being able to have all the tools I need at my disposal, no matter where I'm at with my life, if shit's hitting the fan, if I'm feeling dysregulated, if I'm needing to come back to my center, if I'm needing to brainstorm or daydream or connect with what my vision for my future is, every single tool is in there to support me. And don't just take my word for it. We have thousands of testimonials of people who have had incredible success stories with these tools. So take the guesswork out of your manifestation process and get real tools that are going to give you real results. And we have our big summer sale going on right now where you can get the absolute lowest prices of the season, $22 a month, and over 25% off discount for the membership for the entire year. So if you've been thinking about joining the pathway, if you are sparking an interest in our money challenge, which is going on right now, which will help take you to your next level of abundance in just 3 weeks, now is the time to join with our sale. It will only be available for a limited time, but the money challenge will be available all summer. I mean, it's so cool to see you really step into your zone of genius and your gifts and your authenticity. It feels like it's even just starting to ripen. You know what I mean? Like you're just even at the beginning of it. And there's so much more to like allow to settle into and grow into, which is so beautiful. What is one note or message you wish you would have heard or piece of wisdom you wish you would have heard when you were in the thick of that rock bottom, or just trying to figure out, God, am I going to be able to get paid for being me? Is that even possible? What wisdom would you impart on that version of you?
It's kind of funny because I have a sticky note on my laptop and it's literally what I would say. This is like the one piece of advice. It's like a friendly reminder to myself, but you don't have to be perfect to take action. Intention goes into momentum, and that just causes everything. Yeah, and I just literally have it right here. So that is what I would say. Yeah, because it's really important. You really don't have to be perfect to do anything in this world. Go into it scared. Do it scared. Do it being imperfect. Like I remember for a very long time, I was so afraid to show anyone my design portfolio because I was like, it's right. I didn't update it. I have so much stuff that I need to do to it. But I remember some really great advice I got at a book signing actually here in DC from a creative director. I asked him a question kind of similar to this. I was like, what advice would you give someone, especially someone young, just starting out in the design industry, who's like, what people really care about is your thought process. If you don't have the perfect visual story, they really just want to know your thought process and why you decided to do something. Even if you're going from one industry, let's just say the culinary arts, and you're going into being a UX designer, you're going to find a way to combine both of them through the storytelling as to, let's just say, why you decided to start with this one dish, the ingredients, if there's a history behind the ingredients, the history behind the recipe, how you want to serve it to your customers or the people sitting or waiting for you at the table. That is what's important, is the thought process, not the absolute perfect. And also, by the way, the thought process doesn't have to be perfect either. Not the absolute perfect visuals. It's really back down to the intention. And as long as you have that and you have your will and literally the courage to fail and to get back up, you're going to be fine. I really needed to hear that several times back in the day. And even now, as I have a sticky note. Yeah.
That's a great note. No matter what your industry is, what your gift is, what your skill is, how can you really just show a little bit more about your intention and why those things are in there? Yeah, to really stand out. That's a really good note. Where can people connect with you, find your paintings, your kits? I'm sure people are going to want that too.
Yeah, gosh, I have kind of retired the kits, but I still have the stuff here. But honestly, my website is the best way to find any of my stuff. I actually just put up, literally a few days ago, a gallery page, putting up my artwork that I have been too ashamed to show because they're not done. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making that page and finally getting the stuff out and owning, like, yeah, they're not perfect, but they're mine. It's a part of my history. And yeah, so my website is one of the best ways to find me. It's literally just byalyah.com, byalyah.com. And my socials, I primarily stick to Instagram and YouTube. My Instagram is byalyah.co, and my YouTube is just by Alyah, and that's also linked in my bio on Instagram. There you can just stay up to date with my journey, and I really like to post content that, of course, talks about my business, what I do, who I'm calling in, but also literally I'm about to post the sticky note because people should see this. People should have reminders like you can keep going. And I like to keep it personal too. I like to show the behind the scenes of my work, of being a designer, an artist, creative person in general who likes to travel and share. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
I love it. What's one thing you're calling in with this challenge?
Oh, one thing I'm calling in, further trust that I can have a sustainable business. Because I already know I can, but it's finally getting the income finally continuing to flow in, because right now it's been spotty because I'm literally just starting. But I guess, yeah, that continuous flow of income coming in so that I can be like, okay, I can rest easy now because I am supported from the inside and from the outside, and I'm good.
I love it. I feel like a lot of people are in that phase where they're like, things are coming in, but they're not coming in consistently. And I don't know what to do in between. And I don't want to panic and have to scramble and stress and have a freak out every couple months when things dip again. How can I have this ebb and flow where I trust it and get it to a level where maybe the portal is a bit wider, so more is coming in, so it can help ease the flow of the up and down. So holding that vision for you guys and anyone else going through that in the community.
We can all get through it.
Yes, thank you so much. This is so beautiful and expansive.
Yeah, I really appreciate this. And once again, I'm really grateful to be here and to share my story. Thank you to you guys for just putting this out there for us to find, changing so many lives in the meantime.
Thank you.
I
hope you guys enjoyed that episode as much as I did. And I wanted to leave you off with a couple of deep imaginings to jump into if you feel called. So if you are someone who is experiencing any grief or loss, or maybe you're just in a different season and you want to process the thing that came before you, I highly recommend going into either the validation DI or the letting go DI. Really sit with, honor, acknowledge, take stake in that transformation that has just happened or in that loss that has been moved through. And then if you are someone who is manifested like Alyah, breaking generational cycles in their business, career, life, etc., I really want you to take a moment to honor that. I want you to see the power in that. I want you to connect with your ancestors and really feel like, hey, I'm pulling us all up. Feel that power that you have moved through that. So I would do the trust muscle deep imagining to really cement and feel into that trust of what it feels like to connect with it, and the rooted in abundance DI. Pull in those ancestors, no matter what generation, even if they're so far back that you have no conscious recollection of them. Pull all of it back in, whatever wants to come up, and really take a second and honor and sit with that pride for a moment, because it is so, so huge and powerful. I would also even maybe do the competency DI, a new one that's my fan favorite in the money challenge. Okay, we'll see you guys next week.